I just wanted to start by making mention. We've heard about it quite a bit that Via Greyhawk turned 25 years this past October, and it was good to see everybody. I want to thank all those who participate in our events to make this a memorable event. It was over several days, and it was culminated with a very nice evening. So thanks to all the residents who participated. And also, I want to thank the employees, the staff. They did a really good job. Yes. Um, I felt the magic, and everybody had an interest, it seemed like, into providing a little idea here, a little idea there, so that it could be a very nice evening. So we had, remember that ice sculpture? I cannot keep a straight face on photos, just so you know. All right, so this was toward the end of the evening. There was a really beautiful ice sculpture, and I'm very happy of this photo as well. I never thought I would get to wear a resident's pants in my life. It was great. Mr. Ardern is just a good sport, and he thought, "How about Yannick, please take a photo in my pants?" And I did. I thought that was great. All right, so happy anniversary once again, 25 years. Our goal is to be here for a very, very long time and provide some good services to older adults and enrich lives, both of residents and also the lives of our employees. All right, well, let's change gear a little bit. We're going to talk figures, numbers for a little bit. I always want to tell the residents how we're doing financially. So these are the financials year to date. It's a little bit more boring of a conversation, but I think it's still very important to be had. Um, so this is the financial operation until September 30th. So at the end of the third quarter. And currently we're in the fourth quarter, we're in the middle of it. We have October's results, but we're going to discuss these later. I like to start at the bottom here. So this is a business like many others, and there's a bottom line. And once again, in the first column, we have the actual results. And the middle column is what we have budgeted last year. So it helps you to see how far away or how close we were to the budget, and if we have a positive margin or if we have a negative margin. So the actual is 226,000. And when the number is without the parentheses, it means that it's positive. So it's good year to date. We've had a fairly good year. So now bear in mind that this 226 here is based on the 21.5 million or so of revenue. So it's fairly close. We're about 1%, and it's in a positive margin. The budget, so we were budgeted at the end of September to be negative 6,000. And why negative 6,000? This has to do with the flow of the business throughout the year. And so when you you account for these two numbers, since we are far from being in the little negative, it puts us at 232,000 year to date. Now, we still have expenses that have not been accounted for, and we know, and Michelle is here today, we know very well some of our expenses have not hit the books yet, maybe in the tunes of 100 to $150,000, like marketing costs and some similar costs. So our projection, we anticipate ending the year around 80,000. this year, so which is good. We really want to be as close to zero as possible, right? Because the operation, once again, is paid by the monthly fees of the residents, and our goal is to be as margin neutral as possible. All right. So there's other numbers here. You can look at the revenue. We're very, very close on the revenue. Even though, as you can see, in the different lines here, things didn't go exactly as we thought they would. For instance, revenue in independent living is a little negative, but the revenue in the care center has been higher than anticipated. Some of it is due to residents from independent living who transfer to the care center. And sometimes our crystal ball is not, we don't have one. So it's not that it's not good, we don't have one. Um, and as you can see for these other lines, especially on total expenses here, you can see that we have a bit of savings, about 183,000 on a $20 million budget of expenses. So it's fairly close. And I'm glad to see that we were able to manage. And once again, thank you to each of the directors who oversee their budgets on an ongoing basis to be responsible with the funds that we have. So this is just I wanted to make it a little bit bigger here on this slide. This is the revenue line. So once again, very close. The expenses, we did fairly well. And so this explains this bottom line right here if you do the math. You want me to go back? No. The slides will be available after. We're recording this session as well. All right, so in the past few months, so September, October, and November is a busy time for many of us as we prepare the next year's budget. So in this case, the 2025 budget. And with this, usually at this time of year, we present the monthly fee increase that we are going to assess starting on January 1 of the following year, 2025. I had a couple of slides there with some numbers, and I was just chatting with Michelle, and it just seemed to be complex. So I wanted to just have words to explain some of the salient points of next year's budget so that you can understand where the bulk of the spending is going to occur next year as opposed to this year or the year before. So really our goal was to really try to normalize the monthly fee increase. As you know, we've had 2 years that have been somewhat outlier the past 2 years. 2 years ago, we assessed 9.75%. And this past year was 5.75. The average of the 25 years for VA Greyhawk is in the 4%. So our goal was really to try to normalize, despite some still challenging business environment and cost. So you will see soon, we hope we succeeded to do that. A care center census exceeded the budget all year and is expected to be consistent in 2025. We are raising slightly the challenge for the care center in terms of census, meaning we want a little bit more business in the skilled nursing. We want a little more business in assisted living, and we want a little bit more business in Canvas, which is our memory unit, either through outside utilization like Medicare patients who would be here on a short-term stay or private payers as well in assisted living if we can, because our occupancy has been pretty high there. And same thing in Canvas. Another thing that we did last year, and this was pretty significant, was to raise. So PRD is a measure that we have that helps us compare all of our communities. It means per resident day. So you take all the amount of money that you spend on food and you divide it by the number of resident days. So each resident is 1 day each day of the year. All right. So we have raised that PRD significantly in this year's budget and last year to bring it back. We had fallen a little bit behind compared to the V standard on PRD. So that has been a significant cost this past year and this year. We've added labor and culinary and dining services to accommodate the flow of the new venues and provide for increased customer service and satisfaction. Once again, more adjustments in food and beverage when it comes to human resource. We added a full-time on-site IT person, information technology, so like a computer person, so to speak, that will provide for more efficiency for the staff and at some point maybe used for basic needs of residents. This new position will start hopefully in January. They will be at Via Greyhawk only, and they will help with any IT issues that the community has. We are the 8th community in the company to implement this program. So it's been proved already. It's been tried in some of our other locations, and it's proven to be, it has paid off. We're going to let this person start and get familiar with our systems a little bit, and we want to extend this, the talents of that person for residents. So at some point in the next few months, you will be able, if you have a computer issue or of some sort, to call on that person for a consultation. Some of our communities have decided to charge residents for this, but I was against because that FTE is already paid by residents. So I don't see the need to charge for that consultation. So it will be free to residents. And that person will be just like one of our employees. They will be members of the staff. We have a lot of computer systems that we use at the community. If I think Care Center, our call light system is a computer system. In accounting, we use accounting software and machines. There's a bunch of electronics in this room. So we want to have somebody on site who's able to quickly answer to any issues we have. All right, so that is coming next year. Also, we've purchased a new vehicle. Some of you may have seen it. It's a Lexus, and I have not had a chance. You've tried it? No? Oh, you like Lexus? I do too. I'm going to take it out, and I wanted to do donuts with it. I get applause. I'm just teasing. I don't like to touch company vehicles. I'm not a great driver. And then finally, we filled the sales director's opening. This was already a budgeted position, but we wanted to mention it here. The sales staff is complete, and we have Amy here. She's in the yellow back next to Michelle. So this is sort of the salient points of the budget. This budget has already been reviewed with the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee has been aware also of the fee increase. And we sort of asked that we keep it a surprise. And so thank you for those who are on the Finance Committee. So the 2025 monthly care fee increase is 4.25. So we we do understand and believe us when we say that our goal is to always try to assess the lowest fees possible. I know our competition's fee increases as well, and both V communities in Scottsdale area are significantly below this year, the competition. And we tried to do our very best to once again provide the services and work hard as a management team to operate within the resources that we have. Um, so this is it. I hope it's big enough. Wanted to make sure everybody sees it. You're going to be receiving, as usual, a letter from the community explaining this and maybe a little bit more details, but you can expect this fee increase starting in January. And the budget process this year, if I could say, was, we were able to do this 4.25% for private payers as well. It seemed like it was a number that just, this is where we need to be. We believe so. We don't know how the market conditions are going to be next year. We hear a lot about CPI and interest rates, and it seems like the all the economies around the globe are still with some volatility. Um, but we hope that things will stabilize so that we can assess these normal, quote unquote, normal fees because they're within the range of what we've done for 25 years or so. Oh, yes. Michelle asked me to take a quick poll. So, do you want to come up, Michelle? It's a nice break from me, right? So, Michelle is a quick poll, and we're just curious to see. No decisions made on this, but
Okay. So when I was in public accounting back in the early 90s, most of my clients I had purchased everything on credit cards so they could get travel points and travel throughout the world and everything. And they really liked that. So I've had a couple of you ask me, why don't we do that here? We've talked about it for several years. It's never happened. It's more of a corporate initiative that would have to take place and be rolled out. But I want to keep the conversation going because every year I talk about it. So I thought it would be nice to take a poll of all of you. How many of you would like to pay your monthly fee on a credit card, but would also be willing to pay the credit card fee associated with that? Well, that would depend on your card. So it could range, from 2 to 4%, because we can't really, to be fair, we can't pass along. If only half of you wanted to use a credit card, we can't make the other half pay for the credit card fee. It's not fair to do that. So I'm curious, we'll take two polls. If you didn't have to pay the credit card fee, how many would do it? All right. If you had to pay the credit card fee, how many would do it? It would depend on the card, so it could range from 2 to 4%. So obviously quite a bit based on a monthly fee. Maybe we'd get some kind of a discount based on the number of people. So I noticed it went down significantly when I brought up the credit card fee. Can I see that one more time if you had to pay the credit card fee? Okay, good to know. Thank you, everybody.
thank you, Michelle. All right. Thank you. One thing I wanted to mention as well as part of next year's budget, two quick items. One of them is the meal credit. So we are making an adjustment there as well on the meal credit. It will go up to $6. So if you don't eat your, I know, right? Wow. Wow, I didn't think I'd get that reaction. So it's currently, I think it's 570, 574. I know it was off the 575. And so it's going to go up to $6. So what's important to understand about the meal credit is that this is also part of the operating budget, right? When we make a payment to a resident who did not eat a meal, it means, first of all, that we we didn't serve the food that was supposed to be served. And some usually, and chef can attest, that will be reused in other ways. We didn't get the social benefit of the organization, right, that it has to offer in our restaurants. But also, it has to be paid from somewhere. So this is paid from the operating budget. And so it costs residents. And this difference is not very much, obviously, from 574 to $6. It was what, $20,000 roughly for the year? 36,000, thank you. And this is there's latitude in this. We could choose to pay more for a meal credit. We could choose to go to 650 or $7. But you have to understand that as we do this, we have to raise the monthly fees more, right? Because this money does not grow on trees. It comes out of the operating budget. So several residents have made mention, hey, how about we raise this a little bit? And Michelle and I thought that it's not an unreasonable request, so we raised it a little bit. But just note that this year it's going to cost the community $36,000, on a budget of close to 30 million. It's not a lot of money, but it's still something to consider for future years. And if there's a lot of demand for that, there's a case to be made to raise it to 625 or 650. In the end, I think it's not a big deal. I wouldn't lose sleep over this, but we're willing to adjust. So no more weird numbers. No 574 or 601. All right, they're going to be even numbers. All right, we talked about this already really quick. I had a slide on the IT technician. So full-time person, there will be time allowed with residents. They will spend time with staff. And then during the first year, really the goal is to get familiar with all of our systems. I wanted to quickly make a note here. I've heard some chatter in the community. I hear things from residents regarding cell reception. And I guess it's been a topic recently in some residents. I'm not sure if I heard everything correctly, but maybe wanted to do a survey to see which service was more problematic or not. And so when this IT person begins, this is certainly something, if you have issues in your apartment to get good cell reception, that they can help you with. There are some solutions like Wi-Fi cellular, for instance, that most cell phones have today. I live not too far. I'm not going to give you my address. Uh, I live not too far from here, but there's not a lot of houses, and I get terrible reception. So I'll be in the backyard sometime talking to a kid or talking to my mom, and then they just drop. And it's really annoying. But if I go in the house, it's perfect because I have this Wi-Fi cellular. So wherever there's Wi-Fi in my house, it serves a cell phone. So um, if you have issues with this in your unit, this IT tech person can certainly try to help find a solution to some reception issues. We do understand that this is a concrete building, and sometimes there's some areas the signals are not getting through, but with Wi-Fi calls, now that's a great solution. So more to come on that. A quick slide about transitions in our community. This is once again, sometimes I hear chatter and I want to cover a few things to help maybe answer some questions. So when a resident moves into a place like Via Greyhawk, obviously we have a continuum of care, right? We have independent living, then assisted living, canvas memory, skilled nursing. And I wanted to have a quick conversation for 2 minutes about how does a transition work in the community? Bear in mind, this year we've had about 25 transitions to the care center. And transitions, let me just bring up my slide. I'll go in order here. They really are a team effort. And when a resident becomes at a point in their life where they say, well, maybe it's time, the conversation begins with the team. And that team is comprised of the staff. We have a committee. It's called the Resident Evaluation Committee. We've had this committee for 25 years. And the team also includes, obviously, the resident. And when the resident desires, we will include loved ones, good friends or family members, kids, or siblings, even sometimes. And we start the conversation and we discuss the situation, we discuss what's going on. Sometimes we set dates. The transitions are really a process, and this process can also be initiated by the staff or by the resident. These transitions usually take time, months, really. And I have Jason is here. I'm not going to ask him to come up. I should do that to a few of my cabinet members. That'd be fun. Um, and this process of months is literal, right? Aging is sometimes we feel like maybe it happens too quick, but it's still a process that takes weeks, months, and sometimes even year. There are residents, sometimes they come to us and they say, I think I'm ready for assisted living, but I'm not sure. So we start talking. And we know we have some expertise, right? We know that it's not for tomorrow. We've had conversations. There have been residents who've been wanting a transition since I got here almost 3 years ago. And they're still in independent living, and we think it's great. They're good. So it really is a conversation between the resident, the staff, so that the goal is to take our time so that there are no feathers that are ever ruffled. Does it happen that occasionally that we have cases that need to be accelerated? Sometimes it does happen, but still we want to take our time. And transitions that are well executed enhance the health and the safety of our residents. And this is what we want. We've had about, once again, 25 or so this year transfers out of independent living. And I wanted to cover this topic for a few minutes. I've had some residents who've talked to me about this, and they have concerns. Does this happen fast? Can somebody come to me and say, hey, tomorrow you need to go to the care center? That doesn't happen. All right. They're usually slow. It's a slow process where we work with folks. In the first quarter of next year, I've asked Jason to do a town hall about this. So just 1 hour on transitions at the community to delve a little bit more into our process, see what it is that we do, and answer any questions that we may have. All right, next topic, capital projects. I have some important information here. I will have a summary of this either in a letter, and some of this I've already published in the past couple of weeks. I think you've seen this photo here. This is our remodel. It continues currently, and I think you've seen some of these as well. So this is coming up early next year. I still don't have dates for the living room remodel, but we have in front of the sales office, or just outside of the sales office, we have a number of boards that I think most of you probably have seen by now. And they include some of the furniture, some of the carpets that will be utilized. This is the floor plan from a bird's view of what we've dubbed the living room. I know residents have used, we have a few names for that, but I've worked on this project for a long time now. We've been using living rooms, so it's the fireplace area. So this is coming, and as well the entry, the lobby area where you enter the community. that is going to be done most likely in the first half of 2025. It's going to require some logistics. And so there's a few things where we're going to start this year, and this information is coming up in the next few slides. You can see some of the patterns throughout the community. We've used this in the bar, and that's going to be used also at the concierge desk. But worry not, it won't cover the whole front desk. It's just those small areas right here. Some other projects that are coming up next year, just so you know, as part of our capital budget. Now, I have a note on this, and the note is that the capital budget has not yet been approved officially. We are still working on it. But my assumption is that the majority of projects on this slide will be approved. And to be clear, the operations budget, which includes the monthly fee increase, that is official. The capital budget is still under review. All right. So we're going to be doing asphalt replacement. You can expect this for several years to come. We're selecting areas of the community outside where the pavement needs to be replaced. So we'll do some more next year. Also, in the garages in the back of the community, we've had some issues with the sprinklers, so the fire sprinklers. And we're going to be doing some replacement in there. In the kitchen, we continue to do a lot of work in that kitchen. Just next year, the spend is once again, we're looking at several hundreds of thousands in equipment, and the big one will be the walk-in coolers. They're 25 years old, they're original, and it's time to do a complete replacement. Chef is already working with Robert Davis. I'm well aware, I've seen the plans for this.
Just 1, 2.
All right. Can you hear me okay? All right, good. We want to do this early next year. Obviously, we will have no refrigeration, right? So we're eating Doritos for 2 weeks. Just teasing. What we will do, we will have, once again, we used a refrigeration truck last year. And this was the first time we had done that. We got some resident feedback. Please bear in mind, we're going to use a new process so that that truck is not parked at the loading dock area. It's making noise. So we're going to haul it at night. We're going to move it so that there's not that humming noise. But you can't expect to see a refrigeration truck where we will keep all the food either frozen or just refrigerated so that we can redo this project. And I'm hearing different. The contractor is saying 10 days, but Robert is thinking 2 weeks, maybe 3 to be safe. All right, so you heard it, probably 2 weeks. We don't think that it's going to affect the amount of food that we can put out. So in terms of dinner, I think everything should remain the same. But I wanted to let you know we're going to be doing this. The IL restaurant patio furniture and barbecue island refresh. So this is another somewhat significant project, especially the barbecue area, where we want to bring in new equipment. We want to be able to put out product that we have not been able to do, like a brisket with a smoker or a pizza oven where we can do high quantity pizzas from a real pizza oven. So, and it's nice. It will be outside. We think that this outside area can be enhanced a little bit. We're going to do some more roof next year. More to come on that. Still undecided which sections. Some smaller issues, the entry flower pots. We have flower pots. They're pretty old. They're starting to bubble up, and so we're going to replace those. More kitchen equipment, dryers, elevators. So next year we have asked for 4 elevators to be redone. Oh, well, thank you. So the rest of the elevators in the community will be a little bit easier because they're somewhat out of the way. And once we have elevators 1 and 2 back in operation, I think it's really going to help the flow of traffic. And just a quick update on this. They're almost done with elevator 1. We are waiting for the inspection. As soon as we get this, they're going to move to elevator 2. And just a word as well, there's been a decision made that the flooring for the elevators will be done at the same time when they're both repaired. All right. So once that elevator 1 opens, you'll still see our wonderful red floor. And for a few more weeks until both elevators are done, and then they'll do the flooring. We don't want to damage this product. As you know, we're not using carpet anymore. So that was the decision to ensure that the construction doesn't damage anything. And then this is a big piece of equipment. This is the DAS, the digital antenna system. So this started in some of our communities where emergency services had issues communicating in and out of our buildings. Once again, we're made out of cement, concrete, and steel, and there's no lumber in our buildings. So we put that DAS in some of our communities, and then it was decided that Via Greyhawk would get a DAS. And so this is an item in contention here. What this does ultimately is that it can help cell reception in our communities. The issue is that it is extremely expensive, and it is not a resident expense. This is a ownership expense. So it's under review currently. Well, let's wait that we get it. Then we can clap. But we're fighting for it here. And I think with this cost, what I'm trying to do with ownership is we can do it in phases. And I would rather start with phase 1 next year, which is for emergency services only. And then it would be for residents, and there would be staff areas. So if I can get this started next year, at least the ball would be rolling, but we will see. Okay, a couple of important items regarding corridor remodel that has started this past Monday. So if you could please review my letter to residents from Monday, November 11th. There's some instructions on it. We've started replacing the carpet. Crews have started at the end of the B wing. So it's this side of the community on the 3rd floor. And they're working their way from far into the wings into the rotundas, right? So that's the way the process is going to be. And so we have some new carpet there. If you have not seen it, feel free to go take a peek, but they are coming your way. And the most important element is your safety. So here's how it works. You will see when they get your way. And one morning, and you will know because you will see them coming the previous days towards your apartment, they will be prepared to replace the carpet in front of your apartment. For your safety, they will tape 2 strips of red tape that says danger on your front door. The goal is not to keep you hostage in your apartment. The goal is just to provide a reminder that be careful, don't step out. The crew is extremely accommodating. I've worked with them before in California. They will help residents in and out of their units, but what they want is a 10-minute notice. So what you would do is you open your front door, you're going to see the tape, you're going to be reminded, and then you can just call the attention of a worker and say, I need to leave in 10 minutes. Whatever it is that they're doing, they're going to prepare the area for you to safely walk out and let them know, I'll be back in 2 hours so that they can know. Usually we're going to have 4 to 5 resident apartments per day. They can keep track of that. They just need to notice. Now, one very important item, if they're applying the glue on the concrete floor, please do not step out. We've already had an issue. And I won't tell you how many I had in Palo Alto. I'm asking for your help. It's very serious. Do not try to step out into the corridor if you have those red tapes without a heads up. Sometimes you may not be able to see that there's glue on the floor, or sometimes they'll put epoxy to even out the concrete. You may not even be able to see that. Please, we ask for your help on this. So we've discussed this procedure. Another item, and I'm spelling this out in my letter from November 11th. Please go back and read it. It should be in your mailbox if you have not seen it, your email box. The painting of the rotunda, so the lobby area, will start, it will be during the first and second week of December. All right. And we need to communicate a few things. There are some logistics here. So the painting of the rotunda will be in early December. The workers are telling me that it's going to take them about 10 days to do the rotunda. It will be plasticked, meaning you can walk around the rotunda to go to the different wings, but you will not be able to sit in front of the fireplace. All right. This should end around December 13th, after which we know it's the holidays. We've thought about it. Okay. We're going to put the trees and the decorations that we usually do. In the meantime, we're going to do our very best to make this place as holiday-ish as we can. But we got to get this done. The main entrance, so the painting of the entry. The main entrance will be closed on or about December 14th and 15th. That's a Thursday and Friday. The reason for this, there's a lot to paint. And when I say paint, I mean the walls have to be repaired. There's a lot of prep work to do. This is really what takes time. The painting takes no time. It's just the work of repair that takes a long time. So we are going to use the library doors as an entry and exit, which means that the library will be closed on December 14th and 15th. 2 days. We do understand it's a little bit in the holidays, but we got to get this done so that it doesn't drag out during and after the holidays. All right? In the meantime, I'm working with Billy here to make sure that we have a festive environment for the holidays. We'll do our very best. And my goal, the key here is that we will be done with this work by December 15th, meaning I'm hoping, and you can talk to the carpet guys, you'll see they took a challenge yesterday. A resident told them, you can't finish that in a month. No way. They said, challenge taken. We'll see, right? We do want them to do a good job. So I don't want to pressure them, but the painting in the rotunda area needs to be done so that we don't drag this until after the holidays for cost and other reasons. And I will send more information in the letter form. All right, my time is growing short, so I want to talk about the resident satisfaction survey. So here are some of the highlights. Once again, I have not done a deep dive myself. I have hundreds of comments to read, your comments, and also just looking at a number doesn't always tell the whole story. And even today, I wanted to spend time with the cabinet, and we just ran out of time in our meeting. So it will take some weeks to really dive into the survey. But bottom line, it was a good survey. A lot of improvements in several areas compared to last year. So the only area that decreased that is significant is participation. But as you can see, we had 86% of you took the survey. Last year, we had 93%. And I don't know if you felt the difference, but last year we felt like we pushed really hard for residents to take the survey. So we want to give residents maybe a little more independence to make that decision moving forward. And still 86%, frankly, so we have 2 weeks and we compete between the communities. Grayhawk was ahead of the curve on day one by 30% of the other communities. Some barely made the goal of 80%. They were at 79 still on the last day of the survey. I can't imagine how much they had to push, but it's a great participation score, even though it's still 7% less than last year. I'm very happy with this type of response. The engagement score is probably the most important score on the survey. It's the culmination of every question that is answered and every score that is given by residents. So we did a +8 from last year. Last year was a lower score, as you recall. So we have normalized that score as well. And I have some slides here with specific questions. I'm going to try to hurry up. Probably the most improved area with a +20% was overall quality of the food. So we're very happy to see that. We recognize that there's more work to do, and we'll see that in some future slides. Another very good score is the would recommend. So we have 80% of our residents who would recommend this community. That's a +1. It's a very good score to have. In anything with an 8 in the 80% is really a good score. I would say excellent. The overall staff rating also jumped significantly with 9%. So the way you think of our staff has improved from last year significantly. And also the value that we deliver. Now you'll see, I'll spend a minute on that question. We've had a significant improvement, and I think more can be made. So let's take a look here. Some of the graphic, just the way when I look on the website, I see the survey. I'm sharing those screens raw with you, all right? Those are images, but this is what I see. So 86% on the response, 70% on the engagement score. And now here are some of the questions. And I'm going to spend a minute here on each slide because we're running short on time, but I will put this out for everybody to see later. I can put some copies in the information center, and obviously this session is recorded so you can back and take a look. So the purple is via Grayhawk, and the green line is the 10 V communities. All right. Now, while this is a good benchmark to have, I also like to look at all CCRC who participate in the survey. There are hundreds of CCRCs. And unfortunately, that data is not yet available for this year because not everybody has taken the survey. That's why it's going to take me some time. But some of those numbers I already know because they're very similar year to year. So the staff we've covered, recommending, we've covered. How would you rate the care that you receive? 78%. Overall, how would you rate the food? And you will say, whoa, 41? That's actually a +20 from last year. Do you know what the industry standard is? 33. And that's very common from year to year. This is obviously top box, right? What I mean by that is people would give a 5. You discount all the other numbers, the 4, the 3, the 2s, and the 1s. So as you can see, there's still a ways to go to align with V, but we've made excellent progress. The most important progress, and I wish I could show you this, it's this section here. People who are dissatisfied with the food was cut in half. That's a very good sign of improvement in the program. I feel safe. We usually score extremely high on safety, which a lot of CCRCs do, but you're going to see scores in the 70s for safety in the industry. Feels like home. We usually do very well on feeling like home. Management is responsive. We have actually improved from previous year, but still a ways to go. I will dive into this one here. Responsiveness is extremely important to me when it comes to resident. Maybe we need to rediscuss some of our standards. Currently, we have a number of days that the expectation, if you send me an email, I want this to be faster than 5 days, right? We're going to work on this. We need to feel like we respond to each other quickly. And bear in mind, sometimes I get an email and I'm on Mount Whitney. I'm not going to see it, right? It's going to take some time. And we do have tools in our emails to ensure we're not available, we're out of the office. Still, something we will work on this next year, most likely. The value question has increased, still some progress to be made. Dining staff is friendly. We've usually done well. Prompt service, these are good scores. I'm satisfied with. Now we get back into the food questions. Now these scores right here, 58% and 52% have doubled from last year. So, and when we speak of variety and consistency, these are two very difficult things. Because if you're so consistent, you're going to have less variety, right? So this is a really happy middle. We are getting very close here to meeting company objectives, so to speak. There's more work, and I think Chef is not here today, but I wanted to thank him. This guy's in the kitchen a lot. I I wouldn't say that if he was not. I can tell you that he's here early in the morning, he leaves late at night. He's here 6 days a week. So he's done good work. He continues to do so. We'll take that. Thank you. Yes. I'll show him the video. All right, nursing questions. We usually do very well. We are very close here. We're exceeding in this area for CNAs. Good work, CNAs. We love our CNAs here. CNAs are the ones who, if you go to assisted living or skilled nursing, they're the ones who answer the call lights. They come to you. They help you with your very needs. They're good folks. These are our nurses questions. Once again, the company has scored really high on this last survey. So they are further raising the bar for these. These are incredible scores. All right. High 80s is incredible. So just so you know. And I have a bunch here. Accounting, you can look quickly, take a glance. If the purple is a little bit above the green, it means that we're doing a little better than the V average. And if the purple, let me find one right here, it means that we're not quite where we want to be. In other words, we're looking at those as areas for improvement. So maintenance, good work. Wow, this is a really good score for Robert Davis and his team. Housekeeping, right there with Robert. Kudos to Monique. Wellness Center, once again, good scores. Transportation has actually increased also since last year by 3 points. So, and we've done improvement project on this. There's more work to do, and we'll do it. All right, really quick. I'm out of time. I want to talk about the fitness center. We are doing a remodel at the fitness center, and it's coming pretty quickly. We're starting on Monday. I sent a letter maybe a couple of weeks ago about that. We're making some floor plan adjustments. So currently, this desk for the fitness coordinator is here in the corner. We just feel like it's odd. We want that person to be seen when somebody walks into the fitness center to greet them so that residents can say, "Oh, I have a question. Oh, can you help me with this?" As opposed to being tucked into a corner. We're going to do a few electrical adjustments. We have a bunch of new machines as well that are coming up. I'm going to post this floor plan as well with the slide deck so that you can take a good look if you have an interest. But here's some details. Work starts on Monday. It's fast. I know. Fitness center will be closed for 3 weeks. This is, I hope, the worst case scenario. I put a buffer in there, but 3 weeks. Now, we do understand that we have a lot of gym users. And what are you going to do while we're closed? We are going to add fitness classes during the closure. Rene Bracamonte is going to send a list of those extra fitness classes, hopefully Friday. Thank you. And we want everybody to stay in shape for the holidays, right? A quick update on sales. I have 2 more slides. We have met our goal of 25 sales for the year. We've moved 17 parties. We are 95% occupied, and we are currently turning 12 units. Those units are sold. We are just not receiving fees because we are remodeling these units, right? We've had a great year in terms of sales. We're looking forward to having Amy on board with us for 2025. Care Center, just a quick update on the census. Canvas has 20 out of 24 beds currently in use. There is one, -1 means we have a current move-in happening, right? The person is not in yet, but it's just in a week or two, they'll be there. So I wanted to note those. Assisted living in a few weeks could be full. Worry not. This has happened before, right? And then finally, our skilled nursing, which is our most volatile unit, 28. This is where we're at today, Melanie. I did this a couple days ago. 29. Okay. All right. That's our care center. All right. We are a little bit over the time I had. I apologize for that. I can take a couple of questions and I will stay after. We'll start with Mr. David Lemire.
Residents over the past few years have been concerned that we're spending more on capital than we're putting away. Would you talk a little bit about the 4.25% that what is built into it to help with that problem?
Thank you. And I probably should have made mention of it. So we have this, when residents pay their fees every month, we take a portion of that, a small portion, and we put it aside for large projects like replacing the carpet, for instance. That's one of our capital projects. And we pay out of that account. All right. That account, the goal is to keep it at zero as well. But in times where we spend a lot of money, it will go negative. It can, and in this case, we are in the negative. But there will be years, and that should start in a couple of years, where we will be spending a lot less money. And so we will replenish those funds for several years until high expenses occur. We've done a lot of work in this community. And so the amount that we are taking from the resident monthly fees starting next year will be 6%. In 2024, we were taking 5.6%. So it's a very small amount of total fees to pay for quite a bit of projects. This is a very elastic budget. It can go several millions into the red, and then we will replenish it, and it could go into the green as well, several millions. We will see what happens. But we can expect to stay at this 6%-ish. It could change a little bit for several years. What's important to understand is that this does not cost residents more money. The 4.25 increase, that's it. That capital reserve comes out of all fees collected after they have been collected. So in other words, let's say all fees is a pie. We take a slice of the pie, we move it aside. We don't use that money for food and paying the staff. We use it for large projects. Does that help? All right, thank you. One more question and we'll wrap up. Yes.
Based on the length of time it's taken for elevator 1, Do we have any kind of guess as to whether the elevator repairs will be done in this decade?
This decade, I promise. Good point. I think I've mentioned the elevators 1 and 2 has been a very frustrating. We use a reputable contractor. It's TK Elevators. They're a national company. They're very well known, publicly traded. They do a lot of business. They've done a lot of our communities over the years. And for whatever reason, this elevator one has taken longer than anticipated. Um, I don't really like to, speak badly of contractors, but we may look at another option for next year. We'll see how they've told me elevator 2 should go much faster. As you know, 1 and 2, even though they're separate units, they're in the same box. So a lot of prep work for elevator 2 has already been done. This is what they're telling me, right? So we will see. But once again, elevator 1 is done. We're waiting for the inspection, which should happen in the next couple of days, and then they'll move to elevator 2, which they've quoted us at 6 weeks. I know it is making strange noises, but it's still safe. I know. Folks, thank you so much for coming to my town hall, and have a nice evening.